Aye, lonely mountains, downhill, to kick us off this time then. And I'll tell you what, folks, if there were ever a nature simulation for yon current times and that, then look no further. Gotta be honest, not for 1 second previous did I ever think I needed an isometric mountain bike game. And goodness knows, I think about all manner of inconsequential nonsense. So I'm frankly flabbergasted that it's never cropped up really. But here we are. Trying hard at times over the last year or so to steer my malleable mind away from the plethora of existential crises that can often accompany any contemporary contemplation, what with one thing and another. I've found myself playing more of this in 2020 than all else. Certainly modern day wise. It's escapism without the escape, I guess, in that it's as relaxing or as stressful as you want to make it, as one can saunter round the beautiful little trails, dopily smiling to yourself as butterflies and whatnot flit around, paying your little mind. Or you can choose to hurtle down the side of said mountain, looking to shave seconds off your high score in order to unlock such precious, life-affirming flotsam as alternative cycling britches, or perhaps the sort of ultra-desirable mushroom grips sold at Burnley BMX Centre and Bob Whittaker's back yon. But I've got to say I'm not fussed about the competitive elements in this really. I just take a few deep breaths and unleash my inner flanner, simply enjoying pretty much what I understand is referred to in contemporary mountain cycling parlance as leisurely dossing about. I guess the pendulum could probably swing too far that way and all though, as I saw some reckless wild card online rhapsodising about how you can just sit there if you want, tentatively on the edge of a cliff, gazing down into ravines so deep they disappear right off the bottom of the screen, no matter how big your telly is. But I've not given myself over to that level of lonely mountain lunacy just yet. I can feel it coming though, I'll tell you that. Aye, Little Nightmares is right. And I'll tell you what, folks, if there were ever a locked on a weird ship effort while dressed in a boss little yellow Macintosh simulation for yon current times, then look no further. 'Cause I mean we've all been there, haven't we? One way or another. Metaphorically or literally. And unsettling as that stark realisation is, what else is one to do? Other than wander around in dark until you suss out that one of your buttons fires up a little counterfeit Zippo job. Kinda like that one that you found on flea market, but never really learned how to refill properly. But it were only a couple of quid, wasn't it? So what does that matter really in big scheme of things? Well, it matters now, doesn't it? Yeah, nice bit of kit is this, man. And it gnaws right into your noggin. Playing silly beggars with your senses till you're genuinely not sure what's what. And all manner of dastardly doubts set up camp in your ever-fraying grey matter. And all the standard questions then commence as one tries to make sense of it all. Questions like, just what is going down here then? What's with all these giant leeches and that? Is there a run button that I'm somehow overlooking that is preventing me from getting anywhere that requires a quicker turn of heel than yon little un can wring out the bare little feet, bless 'em? And perhaps even more essentially than that, does the little lantern effort you've landed yourself with ever run out altogether? I've got to fess up here and tell you that I've never had the billiards to play it long enough to find out, because I'm not sure I could bear it if I had to do all this in pitch black. Part of me don't want to know, if I'm honest, which is a crying shame, all told, because I really dig this a lot. And Laser League, it says, done it, mate, on this one. And I've got to say, if ever there were like a weird, rave-infused amalgamation of Tron, Speedball, Roller Disco, Robotron, and Supermarket Sweep for young current times, then guess what? Etc. Not entirely current, maybe, I'll give you that, but right up to as recent as maybe 3 or 4 years back. I'd honestly be reckoning that this kind of hyperglow ultra-violence wouldn't have a duck in Doncaster's chance of being unleashed in real world for at least a century or so. But pretty much out seems to go these days, doesn't it? So once they fettle out who's going to get paid and who gets rid of bodies and whatnot, then we're probably good to go, I reckon. I guess this remains harmless escapism for the time being, no? And after a hard day's Zoom-centric toil, watching pixelated caricatures of folk reckoning to be professional, while still struggling months and months on to get to basic grips with whether their mute button is on or not, then what better to spend what leisure time you got left with causing further irreparable damage to your precious eyesight than a few pugilistic rounds of this. As with most pointless pastimes, it makes little or no sense initially, but just as your fast-fading vision really starts freaking out, you begin to get an idea of what you might want to be doing, and it's a few more do's before that actually starts happening as you'd like. And then you're in. Your days of aimlessly wandering round gaff like the gormless get your result rate would have all observers understandably believe are over, and you start giving almost as good as you get, just as sight fails you altogether, and you painfully blink yourself up the wooden hill to Bedfordshire, where the inevitable psychedelic dreams await. And that's that. You'll be back for more though. You can be sure of that. Just be careful with that axe, Eugene. And so it's down to Lazy Raiders to finish us off this time then. Alright. And guess what? If ever there were a greedy grabbing diamond digging analogy for these troubled times, then blah 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 blah. But on Xbox 360 like. Bit like that there Spelunky is this. If Spelunky relied almost entirely on a briefly surprising controller dynamic, that, although soon losing its unique qualities, turns out to be okay enough to keep cracking on for more levels than you should, all told. If only cause there's not better to do really these days, is there? Spelunky is not like that though, is it? I dig on Spelunky, man. This is like that though, man. Make no mistake. And as such, this is right enough, I guess. If you're into this kind of palaver, right enough for a bit, aye. That's what should be on adverts. It's no Spelunky though, baby. No matter what they say. So think on.